Hello there. Welcome, colleagues. This is David Violet with Note-Taking for Consecutive Interpreting. We had a practice last weekend, like we do every weekend, and there was something that happened I'd like to tell you about. There was an interpreter. She's actually a student of interpreting who has made incredible progress. I was able to observe her going into her A, actually, which is Spanish, and I was amazed. She used to be much more hesitant, much more broken up. And I'll tell you, she just came through like a pro. She had this presence, this self-confidence, this air of authority, a speed, everything that you want from a great interpreter. She had acquired it. I was very impressed. I know that a lot of us have a hard time reaching that, and I know how it feels because I went through that myself. I went through the thing about just concentrating so much on every fact, figure, and word, but also showing my strain and my doubt. And I remember very well, this was at ESIT in the 80s, École Supérieure d'Interprètes et de Traducteurs in Paris. And one of the professors, actually the director of the interpreting division, Christopher Thierry, would tell us, c'est votre discours. And that one sentence really had a great impact on me because it was sort of mysterious. What does that mean, that it's my speech? That's French for it's your speech. What does that mean? To me, I think that I've found over the years that what it means is, as he sort of explained, you need to be responsible as a speaker, as a performer, as a professional. There is a certain aspect of the act of interpreting that is entirely yours, and you are responsible for it. And part of this performance is the fact that you need to serve the speaker well in terms of maintaining people's attention, in terms of having that presence that will put across the speaker's message faithfully, that will make people want to stay, want to listen. And part of that is your performance. Now, I was saying that I know what it's like not to know how to do this. And I know that it can be the feeling of, well, that's not me. I'm not a great speaker. I'm not even a great interpreter. And on the other hand, I am an honest person, and I want to be honest, and I want to show who I really am, which is not this great person. Well, I'm sorry to say that you do need to sort of break out of that, and it is not being dishonest to play a role. You need to play a role of the person who really knows what's going on and is self-confident, authoritative, and has real presence before a crowd. There's a phenomenon called imposter syndrome. That's when we feel that we are imposters. That's not us. We are pretending to be something we are not. Well, to some extent, as an interpreter, we do pretend. We must pretend. And I have some recommendations about how to break out of that timid shell, how to get beyond imposter syndrome, and how to really stand up there, be authoritative, and tell people what the speaker said in a way that is faithful to the speech, also in terms of your performance, because you must keep people's attention. You must play the role of an interpreter who really caught everything. And what I would like to give you as a recommendation is that you practice not only with new material. We tend to practice with new material because that's what we are going to do in real life. It's rare to be able to do a speech twice. But in practice, if you only do new material as a student, as someone who still hasn't become really confident, you end up just practicing someone who is not dominating the performance. You need also to practice the person who is dominating the moment, who is totally in charge. You need time with playing that role in practice so that you can practice, eliminating your pauses, keeping eye contact, having good posture, looking really confident, going fast, enjoying the whole moment, enjoying pronouncing each word. All of those things you need to practice. You need to have time with that in the practice time. In other words, time that doesn't count in terms of your professional reputation. So what my suggestion is that you do sometimes do the same speech or the same text over and over again. Do it over and over again and use it as an opportunity to practice not only that phase in your learning when you are still trying to figure out how to use notes and how to read them and how to combine all these skills into a good performance. Not only that phase, but to practice also the phase where you are totally on top of it. So yes, that day will come naturally anyway, after a year or so. But why not start a little bit earlier by taking those speeches that you are doing and doing them several times over. You will discover that some of the vocabulary you come up on the third, fourth, or fifth time is really great. And so by doing it a sixth and seventh time and enjoying it, you're practicing using all those great words and having that wonderful look of an interpreter who's enjoying it and having that confidence and air of authority that you want to have. Going back to this interpreter who was in our practice session, I also added a little caveat, and it wasn't for her, it was for all of us. Be careful once you've acquired this ability to really have this authoritative air and look really sure of yourself, not to abuse it. You want to be, yes, the one who is standing in the room giving a consecutive, and if somebody happens to walk in, all they want to do is hear what you're saying. They hear someone who really demands attention. But don't abuse that. In other words, it is possible to get quite good at that kind of performing, even when we do not really dominate the material. It's possible, physically, it's possible to not know if the number is correct and yet look like we know that it's correct. It's possible to think that it must be this, I don't really know what it is, but I'm going to just say it with confidence. That is a sort of a strategy, but what I recommend is when you get to a number or something that you simply don't know, let's say that it's a number and you don't know if it's thousands or millions or billions, I really recommend being honest in a case like that. Don't use your acquired skill to be authoritative to fool people when you are not actually sure. So this is a caveat that I added when I complimented this student on her really good performance skills. What I would recommend you do in a case like that is ask the speaker. Put it in the third person. The interpreter did not catch a number here and wishes to really get it accurately. Was it 250 million or 250 billion? You get the answer and keep going. If it's something where the speaker has left or for some reason you don't want to ask, for example, you've already asked once or twice and it's starting to look like too much, or maybe it's quite a minor number and you don't think it's going to really make that much difference. You could say, in this case, the interpreters got 256, but is not sure if it was millions or billions, and then just keep going. Because you are honest. You are honest. Be honest. You must be honest to be professional. And be honest also knowing that you are a really good interpreter.